we have our final series of the broadcast of the group to determine the final player to make it into Group Stage 2. Into the top 8. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Persephone, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Team Falcons. It is Rogue. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the red Protoss player representing Basilisk from land of Canada. It is Trigger. And I'll be honest, this is a series that I've been looking forward to the most. Getting into a potential Trigger versus Rogue. I mean, I do feel like Trigger, he's more informed than Nightmare was. Nightmare series against Rogue, it left a little bit to be desired when it comes to Nightmare's play. Again, he did look, as I mentioned, like either a little bit out of practice, a little bit ill-prepared. But here, Trigger, he is in form. He has been practicing, has been improving. And we'll see how he compares. Let's go. As we load into Persephone. Persephone, being one of the more aggressive maps in the map pool, has a shorter rush distance by ground. The rush distance is very direct as well. Despite that, we have seen some longer games on Persephone making use of these gold bases. We'll see if we can get to that stage. As I mentioned before, when it comes to Rogue's playstyle, he's very often playing towards Lurker Tech, and we did kind of see that against Nightmare on Maganatha. True. Did get there eventually. But Rogue, he was already ahead, right? He already had a comfortable lead at that point. So he was just comfortably getting into Lurker Tech. Here, we'll see how Trigger compares. As Trigger, he doesn't really deviate too much from the norm. I think it's going to be a very stark contrast compared to our previous best of 3, our previous PVZ, I should say. As Nightmare was being very cheeky. As a reminder, game 1, Nightmare, he went for a Stargate Void Ray opener into 4-gate Glaive Adepts into an attempted 7-gate 3-base all-in. Which did get shut down. And then in game 2, we saw Nightmare just be really tech-heavy early on and really safe and really defensive. And Rogue just droned. He just droned on up. What we haven't seen here tonight is Pulsar Blink Stalker aggression, which is more what I'm expecting out of Trigger. I see in the chat, when is Group C? There is no Group C. There's only 2 groups. Only 2 groups. I mentioned before that this season the GSL is a lot more condensed. It's a lot more condensed, and it's a much shorter and much smaller format. So if you're looking for Group C, there is no C. There's So only Group A, then Group B, and then this week is Group Stage 2, which is also another 2 groups. So only 2 groups in the first stage and only 2 groups in the second stage. This Trigger does shade away. Again, just poking in. Behind this standard opener here, we're just droning up, saturating, pulling out a gas from the side of Rogue. Likewise, Trigger going for his own Stargate opener back at home into the Oracle, something more standard. Link Scout will confirm. So Rogue, he is aware of the Stargate and of the Oracle. Everything so far looking standard. Let's go. As Rogue, he does invest into a surge of links early on. The goal here is to delay the third. Speaking of Trigger, actually going for the triangular third base here. Oh no, the wall is open, links they flood in thanks to the Overlord. The Overlord sees all it knows, all gets a full surround, takes down 1 adept, massive pickoff, gets into the mineral line, and can we get any probe kills so far? 1 probe goes down, he gets 1, he gets 2. And nice damage here from Rogue. Takes down an adept, takes down 2 workers, gets a free scout, gets a 3rd probe. Oof. This is getting out of hand. This should not have happened. Ay. And again, the MVP Overlord saw the opening. He just went for it. Did just go for it then and there. A couple of links, they make it out. And Rogue, he's not done, still making more links behind this. Ideally to threaten the 3rd base, but we'll see if he finds another opening. Oh no. Oh, okay, thankfully. Trigger does move back in. Kind of moves back in position. Lings are ready for another run by. Oh, meanwhile, Trigger, he does delay the 4th base. Not bad. And Lings, they move out for a surround. Collapsing on the Adepts. Trigger pulling away. Does pull away. I would have a Twilight Counter behind this, going into Blink, going into Gateways, but this is a messy follow-up here to Trigger just because of how much economic damage has been done. Late Forge. So delayed Forge, later Gateways. It's been a chaotic early game. Behind this, more Lings on the way. Rogue is still just droning, now taking gases. Eva Chamber first. It does look like Rogue is going to be skipping Roaches and going into Ling Hydra. And you can see just how aggressive and active he is. Takes out a Stalker. Gets a full surround. Gets one and gets two. And both Stalkers do fall. Lings, they flood in once again. The wall is open. Yo, we're not going to be casting hero today. What's going on? Not the first time this has happened. The wall is open. 3 more probe kills. Ay. And I assumed it was going to be Ling Hydra, but no, it's going to be Ling Muto instead. A bold move. This is risky. It's a risky playstyle. But for the time being, Rogue does have full map control. And Trigger hasn't seen much. Not yet. Now moving out. Looking to be active. This Trigger does threaten the bases. Now zoned away. Lings likewise, they don't quite commit into the natural. Looking for another way in. Oh! Trigger, he is holding... Oh, sorry, Rogue is holding zone. Defends the base. And Trigger, I don't think he's quite seen anything yet. Yeah, has not spotted the Spire. He doesn't know. There's a safety Phoenix on the way. Lings are coming for another surround. Ay. Yeah, forces the recall. Takes down 1, 2 Stalkers. Going for more. Thankfully, Blink is available. Does blink away. Lings, they still trade well though. No plus on melee, but they trade well nonetheless. Catching out more Stalkers at 13 meters on the way. But Trigger already making extra Phoenixes. Reading this well. I mean, he hasn't seen anything yet. For all he knows, there could be Hydras, but by now they would have revealed themselves. But now we would have seen them. Oh no, knockout god. They just keep going in. Lings, they keep flooding in. Lings is a natural into the main, into the 3rd base as well. Mutas, they have arrived. And probes are going down. Oh, takes down the mineral line. There are just a handful of Phoenixes. 19, 20 probes going down. Mutas are going to be forced back. They are zoned away. Rogue catching out a Phoenix. Takes down 1. Likewise, only 1 Phoenix left. Now getting up to 2. Oh, that's got. Never mind. Yeah, I mean, just magic working on the army, and so far, Rogue is just too far ahead, just collapsing on everything. Takes down an Archon. Goes back into the main. And catching another Phoenix. Yeah, just juking out Trigger time and time again. It's a little bit too late to deny Storm, but we'll still get more economic damage. As Rogue is still just rallying across the map. Maybe rallying a little bit too much, but GG gets called. He just overwhelms. And Rogue, he takes game number 1. Whew, GG. Rogue going into Mutas here. Again, not something that I was expecting. Going into purely Ling, I was expecting a Hydra production, but no, just going Ling into mass Muta instead. And Rogue, he just achieved so much with his Lings. He could do whatever he wanted from then on forward, whether it was going into Mutas, into Hydras, into Swarm Hosts, whatever he so chose, I should say. As, yeah, he was just doing so much with that. Gaining map control, harassing the mineral lines, taking down Stalkers. How many times was the wall open? Hero would be proud. He'd be Feels hero, man. GG. GG, well played. And with that, Rogue does take a lead in the series, and we'll see if Trigger can recover coming into game 2. Let's go. Let us go. As again, a very active, very aggressive style here out of Rogue, with just the Ling is all over the place. Non-stop Ling harass, non-stop Ling run-bys. And we'll see if he can replicate that success. As spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Pylon, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Team Falcons, leading the series 1-0. It is Rogue. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the Canadian Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Team Basilisk. Down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back and force the ace match. It is Trigger. Here we go. And welcome one and all to Pylon. Welcome to one of the, I would say, more aggressive maps out there. It is a wide map. There are a lot of bases on Pylon, that is true, but the attack path is very direct. Very direct here, from natural to third base, from natural to natural even as well. So we have seen a lot of successful aggressive builds on Pylon. Because of that, I'm not going to rule out something like a 2 or 3 base all-in that's Roach base out of Rogue, even a German taxi across the map. Likewise, Trigger can also be more assertive as well. So we'll see who's going to be the aggressor. We shall see. And again, things just very quickly escalated out of control last game. The non-stop Ling run-bys. They just kept getting into the bases, kept catching at depths, stalkers. It's a really risky playstyle just because at any moment, if you fail to get damaged, then those are Lings that could have otherwise been drones, and you fall behind, and the Protoss turtles up, and they successfully defend, and they tech up as well. But Roki was all over it. Now, I don't expect to see mutas again 2 games in a row. Usually it's ill-advised to go for the same kind of strategy multiple times in a series, especially a best of 3. So we'll see where Rogue takes us. We shall see. As the Stargate has been thrown down. So once again, Stargate opener out of Trigger. Opening up standard. Likewise, Hatch Gas Pool out of Rogue, going for his own natural as his third. Just building up. Nothing crazy, nothing wild yet. So he does fan out some of his Lings, looking to get in for a scout. And looking to confirm the opener. Now, something that we haven't seen yet is a Void Ray opener out of Trigger. Likewise, I feel like game number 1, Trigger, he didn't really get to get into his own game state. Like, he was just stuck defending and stuck behind from almost the beginning of the game. Stuck trying to hold on against any kind of Ling aggression. He was never able to move out across the map, outside of his Oracles, of course. It was a really rough game there for Trigger. So I don't expect him to deviate yet. I expect, just Stargate opener, Oracle into Blossom and Blink. And we'll see where Trigger takes us from there. Where do you take us, Pappy? Where do you take us? For now, moving out for his third. Does claim his third on time. Lings are here to delay. And they get quite a bit of damage already here. Oh my god. Coming in for this round. But the second that has arrived, and with that, the first one will still go down. Massive pickoff. Once again, the Lings are popping up. And they get in. Oh god, not again. They slip into the main base, slip into the natural. Thankfully, there is an Oracle to defend, and this time Trigger, he should be fine. He should not lose a probe. But energy is still wasted. As Trigger, I say he shouldn't get a probe. Sorry, as Rogue, he shouldn't get a probe. He gets one. One worker goes down. Second Oracle has arrived. Once again, forced to be defensive back at home. And more Lings are coming. Here we go. We're going for a Ling Queen all-in. Oh no. Trigger, he sees nothing. He doesn't see this. And energy is being wasted back at home. Not to defend. Not against the all-in. We spoke about this earlier. I mean, I alluded to a German taxi. I said that all-ins are, or aggression and all-ins are more favored here on Pylon. I was alluding to a Roach Queen walk across the map. Rogi does one better, a Ling Queen walk across the map instead. And things are looking dire here. As Lings, they deal with the third base. And Rogi's looking to at least break the third. As the third base is forfeits. Behind this, Rogue is droning. He's saturating. Building up his economy. Will break the base down. As the natural secure, we have shield batteries, cannons, adepts. There's no breaking the natural from here. Oracles, they get across the map. Nice damage, getting up to 8 drones. Oh my god, the spores were late. Yeah, late spore crawlers. 9 drone kills, very nicely done. And Trigger, even though he's on 2 bases, Trigger does have the better economy. Oh no. Does have the greater economy. Rogue has a lot of droning to do. Likewise, I believe there's no lair. Sorry, there is. Lair is done. Hydra dead on the way. Oh no! Oh, the Oracle overextends. Another Oracle goes down. 0 Oracles left. Ah, that is brutal. Big overextension. Once again, Lings, they threaten a dive. Army's being dragged into the open. Queens are getting low. Queens, once again, they're looking for a surround. They don't quite get it. 1 queen goes down. Oof. And so will the other 2. So 3 queens do fall. Roki backs off. Does back off, does retreat. Again, getting into 3 base Ling Hydra tech. Oh, Overlords are getting caught out. As Lings, they hit a punish. Blink is not done. Ah, surrounds 3 of those stalkers. 1, 2, 3, 4 stalkers. Oh, sorry, 3 stalkers going down. 1 barely escapes. Ah, no, the Overlords. They didn't keep going. And Trigger's looking to stabilize. He's stabilizing here. Meanwhile, Rogue already massing up Hydras. Rogue, he does cut workers. He had a choice to make. He could have gotten up to full 3 base saturation. Instead, right now, he's just building up his Ling Hydra and prioritizing those upgrades. Hydra speed is on the way. And Rogue, he wants those stalkers. Trigger, nice kiting. Does blink well. Rogue collapsing in. Does have the high ground. Ooh, Hydras, they do punish. Ah, that was a massive blink. And Stalkers, they're falling. Yeah, a bit of an overextension there from Trigger. And with that, Rogue, he should have enough to clean this up. Yeah, the Stalkers are getting very low. Oh, still close though. Trigger blinks in. He does punish. Oh my god. Another clutch chase fuse. Still very close, very intense. Again, this can still go either way. Rogue building up more Hydras, more Lings. Hydra range is almost done. And again, Ling Hydra, they trade very nicely here against these Stalkers, but there's still so many of them. And here we go. He does break through, takes on the Hydras one at a time. Oh. Does bring them down. Behind this, working towards Storm. And Rogue is still building up. At this point, Rogue, actually droning. Never mind. He's going to expand, throwing down the Evo chamber. Trigger, he's recovered well for himself. Has recovered very nicely. Things were looking dire, but Rogue, he failed to defend his mineral line. He lost a lot of drones. And Trigger, he's working towards Storm. Meanwhile, Rogue is not going for an all-in. He's expanding. Expanding, looking at drone. Still has an army to be respected, though. As he does start to step in. Force fields will delay. Hydra's getting on top of some of these Stalkers, but these are expensive losses here for Rogue, bleeding out more Hydras. Yeah, these are expensive. Turns back around, tries to punish the blink. And Rogue is taking into lurkers, but this is a really dicey situation for him. It's still very tense, still very close. Based on the timings of these upgrades, Storm is going to complete, but by the time it finishes, there may be lurkers ready. The lunkers that might be done in time. Again, it's going to be close. Fourth base is done, and now Rogue is droning. There we go, taking into a hive. Working towards a longer game state. Now, we did mention how aggression is favored on Pylon, and it made sense why Rogue went for the Ling Queen all-in. But likewise, it goes both ways. It's going to be difficult here for Rogue to slow down the push of Trigger once he moves out. Lurker Den is done, but where are the lurkers? 4 lurkers morphing in on the front lines. Uh-oh. Storm is done. These lurkers, they might not finish. And now, Rogue, he has to engage as quickly as possible, has to engage ahead of time to buy time for these lurkers. Trigger, he could push forward, but he's unaware. Taking it slow. Yeah, lurkers are done. Lurkers are now done. But there's an observer. Rogue trying to bait out a storm. Trying to bait out the army. Lurker repositions. And I appreciate this from Trigger. He instantly, as he's going to lose his base, is working towards the fleet beacon, working towards Sky Toss. Storm pops up. Nice storm. But the base goes down. Expansion does full. Building on more lurkers. And there's going to be a timing here. Before Trigger can get into Sky Toss, Rogue can strike with his lurker tech. Oh, say that one lurker goes down. Gets one. Almost 2. Once again, the hive is not yet ready. Lurker range is not done. These are lair tech lurkers. They don't have a lot of range. Just holding the line. Meanwhile, Trigger, he's only going into the mothership. He's not investing into Tempest or carriers. Sticking with his ground army. Rogue, he'll benefit from more lurkers. Oh! Speaking of a wild blink out of Trigger. Blinks in, takes down 1 lurker. So far, 3 lurkers have gone down. Rogue has been so careful to just build up this lurker count over time. First Tempest now on the way. But it does feel like Tempest production is late. It's delayed. Trigger pushing into the siege line. Lurker range now complete. He has range, no adaptive talents yet. Things they attempt to run by. They don't make their way in. Yeah, they don't. Barely not. Still so tense. But so far he's got 15, soon to be 20 lurkers. That's a lot of lunkers. More overseers on the way. Getting ready for the cloak. When Rogue does push towards left hand side. Catching out the army. Yeah, rough engage here from Trigger. He's zoned away. Rogue, he commits. Pushing into the bases. Throw down the slow zone. There's a cloak as well. But again, 20 lurkers are morphing in. Or they're moving in. They're zoning back the ground army. Base is under fire. And how do you try to break this? There's a couple of storms. Zoning back the Hydras. Lurkers, they should shut down those Zealots. Not many Hydras left though. But he does kite back. Yeah, saves the Hydras, pushes through. There's what, 2 High Templar left. Sorry, getting up to 5. 4. So 4 High Templar. Lurkers still moving in, down to 10 lurkers from 20. Down to half the lurker counts. Oh, but no detection. No detection. Brutal overextension there. Trigger, he does move in. Observer now has arrived. Mothership goes down. And Rogue's done it. Rogue, he has done it. He breaks on through. Ay. But again, a very tense game. Very clutch. Rogue, he had almost ended the game earlier with his Ling Queen all in. But Trigger, he held on. He punished. He made a game out of this. But again, Trigger's switch into Sky Toss was late. Intentionally so. Like, he did intentionally delay his own Tempest production. He tried to commit to ground toss a little bit longer, and it didn't pay off. Did not pay off in the end. Tempests were required, but they were just so delayed. Likewise, Rogue did a great job of just being so efficient with his army. And also denying the 4th base. He was able to deny the 4th base, contain his opponent, delay the economy. Corruptor production has begun for the Tempest. Rogue is not tunnel visioning. And this is looking dire here for Trigger. Now Trigger, he has built up to a decent Tempest count, which would be great if there weren't Corruptors on the way. Is the problem here. Likewise, Trigger attempting to expand. He just wants a base. He wants an expansion. As he's going to be collapsing in. Brutal Storms. Does lunge away. Corruptors overextend. A messy fight here from Rogue. Does take a messy fight. Yeah, that's a calm down. It's the back off. Rogue looks like he's realized, I mean, he has a very high Hydra count and not really helping too much. So he splits off his Hydras. Going for the mineral line. Lunges in. Oh! Does lunge in. Spots the army though. Does spot the army. Trigger, he breaks out. Takes out an expansion. 10 drone kills as well. There was potential. He pulls back. And again, he needs more lurkers. More lurker corruptor, less Hydra. He's built up to 11 lurkers, soon to be 14. Oh. Meanwhile, Trigger now getting up to 6 Tempest. Almost there. Decent Storm. Lurkers do overextend. Also, 3-4 lurkers going down. Against some messy fights here by Rogue. Still trying to push forward once again. Rogue overextends. All these lurkers are going to go down. Gets 2. Corruptors, they file in. Rogue coming in from behind. Yeah, Tempest around. And he will break through that mothership. Yeah, Corruptors, they take care of the Tempest. Tempest kind of gets reset. And Rogue, he will take it. Whew. We'll take it to the end. The lurkers, they reign supreme. Does come in from both sides, does flank the army, and Trigger, he will lose everything down to 1 Archon. And even then, it's going to go down. Again, Trigger trying to hold on, but Rogue, he was just so aggressive this entire series. In game 1 with the Ling Rumbys and Ling Floods, game 2 with the Ling Queen all in. Trigger just not allowed to be comfortable here in this series, and GG gets called. Rogue, he will take the series 2-0. Qualifying and advancing on into the group stage 2. GG. Whew. GG, well played, Rogue. He will claim it. He will advance on. Again, a very aggressive style here out of Rogue. Game 1, going for just non-stop Ling Rumbys and Ling Floods. Here in game 2, we did start things off with an all-in, with a Ling Queen all-in, which did break the 3rd base, which did contain Trigger. Shout out to Trigger because he did fight back. He was able to cripple the economy and recover from that moment as well. But as he did point out, Trigger, despite seeing the lurker count, he did decide to stay on ground toss longer, and that did hurt him in the end. He needed to switch into Sky just a little bit sooner. Did make the choice to stay with more Archons, more Immortals. We saw, I mean, and to give Trigger credit here when it came to that decision, lurker count was relatively low at the time, so it was fine. but Rogue, he was so good at preserving his lurkers, at building up and getting up to 20 lurkers. It was insane. It started with 4, and slowly but surely he was just able to build up, trade very efficiently, and get into an overwhelming amount, to the point where then Trigger realized, oh, I do need Tempest, I do need Skytoss. Like, by the time that realization was made, it was a little bit too late. On top of that, another thing that did hinder Trigger is he lost the 4th. If you remember, early on, the 4th wave was cancelled by Hydras. They did force a cancel, it did delay Trigger, and he had a hard time maxing out. Had a very hard time maxing out. He never did, actually. GG well played with that. Rogue, he will claim the series, and nothing but 2 zeros. I'm a little bit in shock. Nothing but 2 zeros tonight. GG well played. You can have a look at the group overall. 2-0 from Maru, 2-0 from Rogue. Maru once again 2-0, Trigger 2-0, and Rogue 2-0 at the very end of the broadcast as well. No ace matches, no back and forth, just non-stop 2-0s. GG well played. And again, a lot of aggressive builds as well. We didn't really slow things down too much at all, except for like game 2 of Trigger versus Nightmare comes to mind, where we had like a slower paced game into like a back and forth mid game. But outside of that, we had a lot of aggression or a lot of leads early on from our players, and a lot more one-sided games. Regardless, GG well played with that. Congratulations. We had some intense moments as well. I'm still thinking of like game 1 between Maru and Rogue, for example. I could 100% see them going to the ace match. It was so close, and I was hoping for a little bit more there, but barely not. GG well played with that. Congratulations. And I'm also curious here as to what happened with the interviews. Now, something that I do want to add on coming into our broadcast, we just wrapped up Group B, and with that is the conclusion of the round of 12. Only 2 groups here, so Group B has concluded, and starting, I believe, tomorrow, I'll have to double check, but starting this week is going to be Group Stage 2, which is going to be another 2 groups. Let me double check. Yes, tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to be Group Stage 2. Tomorrow going to be featuring Bjorn, Rogue, Hero, and Kior in Group A. And that means Group B is going to be Maru and Gumiho. No shot. Do they end up in the same group? That's crazy. Yeah, Maru, Gumiho, Classic, and Reigner in Group B. So once again, 2 groups of 4 GSL format. I believe purely best of 3s. Yeah, purely best of 3s. GSL format. But I did want to very quickly go over the interviews, which we're probably going to discuss them more in depth during the podcast. But there was a winners interview for both Maru and Rogue, which is really cool to see. I can show this off. Bam. Okay. Beautiful. Oh. And shout out to Meisenhower. Apparently, interview from Meisenhower translated by Verkunda. Oh, sorry. This is a TL exclusive interview. Oh, let's go. TL's Meisenhower was on site. Meisenhower, he went to Korea, or he's in Korea. That's really cool. Wow. So it looks like TL, they had one of their own TL members conduct an interview at GSL after the matches. Mara saying, honestly, I'm not all that confident at the moment, but I'm practicing as hard as possible. I will say, when it comes to the matches, that we didn't, for me, I was left a little bit wanting from Maru, just because we didn't really get much macro out of Maru. Again, Maru, he all-in every game he all-in. I mean, it worked, I guess. It did work, but I'm still left wanting when it comes to seeing more Maru, to be honest, after seeing his matches tonight. You just kicked off your 36th season of GSL. What is it like playing GSL again? Very happy that it's back. Personally, it feels more meaningful than usual since so much time has passed since the previous season. Only 12 players qualified this time around. I'm glad that they brought up that, or that Maru brought up that it's only 12 players. Again, it's a much smaller format. What was your reaction once you heard that there will be 2 seasons this summer? For those of you that don't know, Maru, he was initially scheduled and initially planned to travel to Star Zagora to compete in the event that's happening in Bulgaria, but recently, but when EWC was announced and when GSL was announced, unfortunately Maru, he had to decline his invite because everything is back to back to back. GSL Season 1, Season 2, DreamHack Dallas, alongside Stars Agora as well, they're all like week to week to week to week. Because of that, we spoke about this during the podcast like 2 weeks ago. It does mean that players have to pick and choose what they want to play in, and it's difficult to play in everything, or I would say even impossible in some instances, because I believe Stars Agora clashes with GSL, with Season 2 of GSL. So a lot of it does clash. So basically, Maru made the decision to forego Stars Agora to play in GSL. So if you're wondering why Maru isn't going to Stars Agora, it's because of GSL. Again, because everything is just so jam-packed. It is unfortunate. It isn't just because they're clashing, but also they did say on social media, Twitter did, I should say CranKy, who is the Team Vitality manager, did say that Maru, he's also suffering from some shoulder injuries, and because of that, like consistent and regular like travel, like flights, they do actually hurt him quite a bit, just because there's so little room and like cramps occur, and he's looking after his health. So just having consistent and going on flights that often, referring to traveling to Stars Agora, traveling to Dallas and all that stuff, is not something that is advised. So another reason as to why Maru's not going to Stars Agora. Looking after his health, looking after his condition. But the answer here is the other players and I were surprised as everyone else. We don't have as many seasons as in years past, but 2 is better than none. It's your first time playing offline in 2025. How's it feel to be back in the studio with fans? Like I said, it's been a long time since I last played an offline event, so I'm very happy. He's happy. He's motivated. What kind of prep did you do? Ladder. Lovely. What about the rest of the Korean scene? I think some other players prefer custom matches, but nearly everyone is grinding on the ladder. There you go. This is, I guess, in reference to how the Korean scene has changed over time. Nowadays, there are less, I mean, there are no team houses anymore. Nowadays, most players do focus on ladder games, less on custom matches, which probably is worse when it comes to practicing, preparing for certain matches, but overall, it's what the scene has come to. There won't be much of a break between the following rounds. Is that going to affect your practice at all? Won't impact. Focus on my builds. There you go. So, focus on my builds instead of playing for specific opponents, so he's fine. You spent almost half your life playing in GSL. What does it mean to you after all this time? I started my career playing in GSL, so it will always be special to me. Hope we'll get more seasons in the future. It would be sad to see it all go. Regarding the games today, Rogue went for the kind of roach rush that was giving you problems in the past. How were you able to defend so well and turn the game in yours this time around? This is referring to game 1 between Maru and Rogue, where Rogue went for a 3-base all-in and Maru did not see it coming. I knew that I was behind, but I did my best to stay calm throughout. Once things had stabilized, I knew I had a chance. True. Stay calm, baby, stay calm. Calm down. Moving on to the round of 8s, how do you rate your chances of going forward? Honestly, I'm not that confident at the moment. I'm practicing as hard as possible. I believe that if I keep at it, I can do well. There you go. Anything you want to say to your foreign fans? I'm really grateful for all the support. I know there are a lot of fans overseas who are cheering for me. Their support is a big part of why I keep playing. Wholesome, baby, wholesome. So a very brief Maru interview here. Not too in depth. Not too in depth when it comes to like asking him about his shoulder injury, asking about Stars Agora and some of the other tournaments. So a bit of a briefer interview. That was okay. Brief interview. Moving on to Rogue. Rogue Trigger especially is very solid when you play him online, but I think the pressure really got to him tonight. That's one way of putting it. Rogue applied a lot of pressure. I feel like this is him seeing like, you know, there's a lot of pressure playing, you know, in GSL and playing on a stage on top of a crowd. Also a lot of pressure when there are links everywhere. Just saying. Here we go. We just see Meisenhower says, congratulations on advancing. It's your first time in the round of 8 since you won GSL or won Code S in 2022. How does it feel? I've been back in the military for over a year and I'm feeling pretty confident. I wasn't all that worried about making it to the round of 8. However, I'm more relieved than ecstatic. You rank 2nd all time with 4 GSL titles. Do you think you can get your 5th this season? Not all that confident when it comes to ZvP, but I think my ZvT is really good. If I get lucky and avoid Hero and Classic, I think I have a good chance of winning this whole thing. I will say that based on what we've seen, at least when it comes to online tournaments, I would probably agree with this sentiment. I do think that the ZvP is a little bit lacking. But, I mean, despite that, he looked really aggressive and maybe that's his answer to things, is to make it difficult for Protoss players in the early game to be able to get a lead and get an advantage coming into a later game. At least from what we've seen so far. Did take a different approach. You've been playing a lot of online events, but this is your first time playing offline in 2025. What's the biggest difference? How does it feel to be back in the studio with the fans? The biggest difference when it comes to online versus offline has to be the pressure. When you're playing online for lower stakes, it's easier to relax. When you're in the studio, there's a lot more tension. I have a lot of experience playing on big stages, and I think it gives me a real edge while my opponents seem nervous. I don't get caught up in the moment. Yeah, I like how he says that. Are we going to talk about game one of Rogue versus Maru, where he's like, I don't let it get caught up? 100% Rogue tunnel vision. He did tunnel vision game one against Maru. Just saying. But sure. You mentioned you don't feel great about your ZvP, but you play quite well against Trigger and Nightmare. Why do you think that is? I think it came down to experience more than anything. Trigger especially is very solid when you play him online, but I think the pressure really got to him tonight. That's the quote from earlier. Now that you advanced, how do you think you'll fare in the round of 8s? I've been winning nearly every match I've played against Beyond as of late. True. So I'm pretty certain I'll reach the winner's match. I've been having more trouble against Hero, but I like my chances if I end up against Beyond or Cure in the final match. Has anything you want to say to foreign fans? I want to thank everyone for the support. I'll do my best to show you some entertaining games. Okay. Very quickly here. Hold on. So GG. Once again, a pretty brief interview. Pretty brief, just going over some of the matches here. Didn't ask him about the Maru match, which I guess makes sense. You want to be respectful to the players for sure. But yeah. Shout out to Eisenhower for being there. For conducting the interview. GG. And really cool to see that TL, they were able to have someone at the venue at GSL. I would assume that maybe this means that we're going to get future interviews for some of the other groups. I don't know how long Eisenhower is going to be in Korea, but it would be really nice if he's still there to be able to get more interviews and get more insights from the players. Always a good thing. Be really cool to see. GG. Oh. As that does wrap up our broadcast here for tonight. So Rogue, he's playing tomorrow. He's playing tomorrow night. It's going to be Rogue versus Beyond in the first round, and Hero versus Cure as well. So Rogue, he was talking about how he's confident against Beyond and Cure, less so against Hero. But if it's top 2 making it out, then yeah, based on what he said, I do like his chances advancing on. We'll see. I feel like Rogue versus Maru's matches aren't really indicative of Rogue's strengths in ZvT. I'm sure they're going to be a lot more, very different matches, I'm sure. When it comes to our broadcast here on the CranKy Ducklings, we won't be casting it live, of course. We'll be casting it via replays next week. So Group Stage 2 most likely be covering it next week instead. That is the plan. Once our schedule is free. Talking about the schedule, it's always busy, Pappy, always jam-packed. Catching up. But yeah, so we just wrapped up with our GSL broadcast. Tomorrow we're going to be live with the Pegasaur Cup. The Pegasaur Tuesday on Wednesdays is going to be at 9 AM KST. That's going to be in around 10 hours ish time. Around 10 hours. So 10 hours time we're going to be live with the Pegasaur Cup. Likewise, tomorrow on Thursday we do have the StarCraft Evolution League in the morning. We have the Pongcast in the evening. We have RSL. Remember, that's the RSL, the rival StarCraft League. They are going to be running their qualifiers over the weekend. We're going to be all over that as well. We have OSC mid-season playoffs. We have the Firegrow Cup, King of the Hill, and Sparkling Tuna Cup, and the May Mayhem playoffs as well. We have so much content throughout the weekend. A lot of StarCraft to come. When it comes to our future GSL broadcast, looking at the schedule, I believe we should have time on... Oh, it's going to be close. I believe Wednesday. So yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to be going over the GSL round of 8. We'll be all over that on Wednesday and Thursday. And that leads into DreamHack Dallas. And I still don't know what our schedule is going to be looking like for DreamHack Dallas. I still don't know if we're going to be doing some replay casts or if we're going to be covering the event. Still up in the air. We'll notify you once we figure out what's happening. we'll let you know. We'll let you know eventually. Aye. But otherwise, hope you all enjoyed yourselves. Hope you all had a great time. A bit of a shorter broadcast here. Again, just faster matches. 3 hours of StarCraft. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the Pegasaur Cup, or we'll see you guys next time for some more StarCraft. Otherwise, stick around. We're gonna be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. Who is live at the moment? Who can we send everyone over to? We'll find someone to see. Loco is streaming, sort of playing AoE 4. Smurge. I might give some love to Bond though. We'll see. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for some more StarCraft action. Until then, hasta luego. Ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego. GG.